Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the MPA 5020 Financial Health Report. My name is Jolanda.
And my name is Jessica. Today we are reporting on the financial health of the city of Lake Forest. Lake Forest is a city in California incorporated in 1991. It is a small city with a population of over 80,000.
Now, to start off our report, we will go ahead and go to our correspondent, Gabby Sanchez.
Thank you, Jessica and Jolanda. My name is Gabby, and I will be doing today's segment on the financial health of our city, the city of Lake Forest, California. Our city has a 2-year operating budget. The city has maintained a fiscally conservative approach to our budget. The general fund revenue for last year, 2021-2022, was $52.4 million. However, our expenditures for that same year was actually $46 million. What a difference, right? Our city has maintained a budget that is consistent with our city's priorities. Our 3 main priorities are a city that is well-planned, attractive, and safe, a city that is engaged, informed, and technologically current, and a city government that is sustainable and well-run with committed people. Our budget for last year, 2021-2022, provided expenditures that covered public services such as public safety, public works, and government salaries. Our budget is fiscally sustainable, and we have in our city no current debt. That's awesome compared to other cities in our area. Our city is newer, which means that we contract a lot of our services. This means that we don't have a lot of pension liabilities compared to some of the other cities that don't have contract services and have in-house services. We have cash in the bank. We have $73.3 million, and out of that money, we have $63 million that can be used for any rainy day funds. Overall, our city budget and our cash are fiscally sustainable, and they are very great compared to others. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabby. I'm Jolanda, your friendly fiscal meteorologist here with your financial forecast for the city of Lake Forest. Well, I hope you all are ready for a high probability of fun and a low probability of boredom because the city of Lake Forest service levels are thriving. So even though the COVID-19 pandemic did create some stormy conditions, service levels have remained relatively constant over the last few years and have also increased in certain departments throughout the city. Specifically for the Community Services Department, there has been a wind of more recreation coordinators, specialists, and leaders blowing in from the Human Resources Department. Compared to the number of authorized positions in the 2020-21 fiscal year, the number of authorized positions in the adopted 2021-23 operating budget are well above average. Okay, so let's go ahead and focus on the central area of the city where it is hot, hot, hot. As most city services are transitioning back to normalized business operations, the Community Services Department is ready to implement new recreational programming that was halted because of the pandemic. With the completion of the new Clubhouse Senior Center and the new Community and Performing Arts Center, the city will feel a heat wave of new revenue that will help the city thrive on the radar. Now, if you think these current conditions are ideal, then you better get your sunglasses ready because the 7-year forecast for the city of Lake Forest is shining brighter than ever. Based on the city's strategic business and capital improvement plans, Lake Forest is expected to experience a steady warm up in programs and projects that would further benefit the community. With the future developments like new roads to promote improved traffic flow and safety, this will keep the city's fiscal climate at an all-time high. After reviewing the city's overall service level solvency factors, I can say that there is an 100% chance that the city of Lake Forest will earn an A+ grade.
Thank you, Jolanda, for that information. Hello, everyone. My name is Monica, and I'm reporting from beautiful Lake Forest. So, we all know the pandemic has affected the lives of many, but how exactly did it affect the city of Lake Forest? Well, I'm here to tell you that, let's take a quick look at the COVID-19 fiscal impacts on Lake Forest. So, Lake Forest is heavily dependent upon three tax revenues such as property tax, sales tax, and transient occupancy taxes, also known as TOT. Over the past 2 years, the city has constructed 3 hotels, which increased the number of hotels to 13. These new hotels are drawn to Lake Forest to serve non-leisure travel. So in other words, they serve the business community and tend to be booked on weekdays. Because these hotels are not used for tourism, this revenue is known to be vulnerable to downturns into the economy long run with the shift of virtual meetings brought on by COVID-19 pandemic. According to the California Office of Tourism, hotels that are not serving leisure travel are projected to have the longest road to recovery. In addition, Lake Forest actually laid off the Director of Community Services due to the budget cuts that needed to be made in the city. This department was the first to be affected since there weren't as many community services and events. However, even after the peak of the pandemic, Lake Forest made the decision to not hire a new director since the department was able to adapt really well to the changes, and staff is now overseen by another director from a different department. This saves Lake Forest some money, and is now a more effective operation. User fees were also affected. These fees are applied to recover all or a portion of the city's costs. Providing service means activities at the option of the individual, such as requests for service or city response to the decisions or action of the individual, such as regulation. Although budget cuts were made, the city was able to successfully reinvent various programs, special events, and classes to provide community and recreational pursuits throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Revenue from user fees and charges is expected to increase 60% from the fiscal year 2020 to 2021 adopted budget. This change is primarily related to the anticipated increase in activities and services provided by the city as programs and facility rentals resume following closures from the previous year. As the city continues to assess the repercussions of COVID-19 pandemic, it will continue to plan for its future and use prudent financial practices to prioritize the use of federal monies and one-time funds.
Thank you, Monica. My name is Jessica Romo, and our next top story is explaining how Lake Forest is solvent in the long run. First on our list of reasonings are the capital improvement projects, aka CIPs. The 2021 to 2023 budget cycle proposed 25 projects until 2028, totaling $19.4 million. These projects are designed to improve safety, traffic flow, median and parkway landscaping, and maintain the roadway network. Other projects include school crosswalk safety enhancements, signal synchronization projects with neighboring cities, street asphalt resurfacing, and sidewalk rehabilitation. Also included in the CIP are numerous playground repairs and enhancements, including the addition of shade structures to existing park playgrounds. These projects reflect the city's commitment to providing highly desired facilities while maintaining and improving existing infrastructure and assets. What does this have to do with long-run solvency? Everything. These projects are maintaining the city while also upkeeping the city's aesthetic, which is a part of the city's mission statement. Another city that rhymes with Schmartensrove finished building their roads, facilities, and parks all at the same time, but did not budget any maintenance for the upkeep. This resulted in Schmartensrove to spend millions of dollars in the upkeep of their city in 1 year. Lake Forest finds it beneficial to plan maintenance projects over the course of a few years instead of allowing all the costs to stack up in 1 year. Another example of long-run solvency would be that Lake Forest is a contract city. This means that a lot of their staffing comes from contracted services. Just in the Public Works Department, $9.2 million were spent on contract services, whereas $2 million were spent on city personnel. In the entire city for 2021 to 2022, $33.9 million were budgeted for contract services, while $9.6 million were budgeted for personnel. Why is this long-term solvency? Independent contractors are not employees and are excluded from membership in CalPERS by government code. So they are not entitled to a pension from the city, as mentioned by Gabby. The total budgeted payout for pensions in 2021 to 2022 is $1.6 million, which would be way more if the city had their own police department and fire station. Speaking of police and fire departments, the city contracts from the Orange County Sheriff's Department for the police officers and from the Orange County Fire Authorities for their firefighters. As a result of contracting out for public safety, the city does not need to buy any fire apparatuses, police cars, fire engines, equipment, etc., much less pay for a pension. The county budgets for that. Overall, I'd give the long-run solvency of Lake Forest a green light.
Thank you, Jessica. My name is Nestor Gama. According to their priorities and issues, the city of Lake Forest, California was expecting to receive $12.7 million of President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion economic stimulus bill, also known as the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. City Manager Deborah Rose had as a major initiative planning to provide policy guidance and spending these grant funds. Similarly, Director of Finance and City Treasurer Kevin Shira also had as a major initiative planning for these grant funds. So what did spending planning involve? According to the City of Lake Forest 5-year strategic business plan, there are 3 initiatives which involve a total of over $335,000, including assistance for restaurant recovery, a citywide broadband initiative, and procure a consultant service for $250,000 to establish a comprehensive emergency management plan. Today, we learned that Orange County received approximately $616.8 million from the American Rescue Plan Act, with the city of Lake Forest receiving only $4 million. The question remains if the $1,400 per person stimulus checks were sufficient for the residents of the city of Lake Forest. And will the city itself be able to compensate its residents in some other way? Perhaps they could use these funds to open their newly built community service center and possibly rehire a director of community services. After a 2-year lockdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the community of Lake Forest could benefit from friendly fraternization. This was Nestor Gama reporting from Lake Forest, California. Back to the studio.
Well, that concludes our report.
Thank you for joining us for NPA 5020 Financial News Report. My name is Jessica.
My name is Jolanda.
Have a great day.